Meeting
to order at 7:30. Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
Will do. Supervisor Gail Cheshire-Eismer.
Here.
Trustee Kate Cassell McNally.
Here.
Trustee Stephen Mosher. Here. Trustee Mark Peterson. Here. Trustee Jessica Tucker.
Here.
Administrator and Deputy Clerk Larisha Hopkins.
Here.
And we have other staff members and our financial advisor Ed Lavin. And we have Arnold, our food safety manager, Ms. Garrett. And Madam Supervisor, we have a quorum. Oh, and we have Stephen Anderson, of course. And Madam Supervisor, we have a quorum for business.
Wonderful. We'll now stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Wonderful. Okay.
So just close the supervisor's report.
All right, we've had a fun month here at the township, including the ever popular MLK Day of Service. The courier came out in time to advertise the MLK Day of Service, which really worked out well. And thankfully, they were collecting stuffed animals this year, so they could finally get out of my house and to the children who needed them. We had a wonderful program here for police social workers from the various municipalities to introduce them to the coordinated response program from the sheriff's department. And it happened to coincide with the sheriff's department bringing us 960 pounds of food. Yes, it was a lot of food. Oh, it was Sheriff's Department Day here at the township. But we've really had a wonderful relationship with Commander Bushing and her staff have been wonderful as well. But there were a lot of great questions from the various social workers about how they can utilize that program. So even those that do have social workers that co-respond, I think could utilize them as backup so that, social workers can take breaks and vacations, et cetera, et cetera. Intergovernmental Cooperation Committee met. We will have recommendations coming after the next meeting as far as how we can work together to improve civility across Wilmette. I still would love to have a similar program for our other municipalities. But it is a brainchild of Wilmette program. I was honored to speak to League of Women Voters Student Government Program again, teach them about the parliamentary procedure and township government. Every year we show a video of a township board meeting gone awry. And I explained that now that they know parliamentary procedure, theirs will never look like that, but that they can watch all of our meetings on YouTube. So they found out. We digitized the Noise Spirit of Community Award application. So please encourage your friends and family who might be deserving of such an honor to apply. Those are now available. The camp scholarships are available as well for those of you who had the fun of camp registration today or on other days, but today was mine. It is on everyone's mind. We also had another intergovernmental orientation here at the township. We've now done this twice, where we bring in officials and administrators from various governments across the township to learn about what we do here and to take a look at the pantry. And Arnold was able to give the real tour. So some great ideas came out of that. We're hoping to place another free pantry at the Park District. We have some other ideas coming forward too. We'll see what happens. He has to obviously get approval and all that. So we'll see what happens as far as outreach goes. And we had a lovely agency partner lunch from Stephen, always entertaining. At this one, we got to hear from Kate about butterflies. And as always, it's lovely to see all of our agencies work together and brainstorm how they can bring their missions to help our governments together. And we also had a voter registration drive over at the high school. So it's been a busy time. In addition to the functions that our staff are making sure keep running on a day-to-day basis. So that is the supervisor's report. Any questions on that? Oh, and sorry, we had a township official Cook County meeting as well. So you'll hear a little bit more about that in the legislative report. But that was over in Northfield. I'll leave that for the legislative report. But Jerome was there as well as our clerk, is our secretary of that as well. Any questions on supervisor's reports? Seeing none, we are now in line for approval of the minutes. We have received minutes. We're gonna start with
Yes.
November 18th. Is there a motion to approve the minutes of November 18th,
So moved.
2025? Is there a second? Is there any discussion? Seeing none, is there, all those in favor of approving the minutes of November 18th, 2025, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Seeing none there. We have also received December 9th, 2025. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of approving the December 9th, 2025 minutes, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Seeing none, they are approved. We have received January 13th, 2026 Board of Trustees minutes. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved. Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Seeing none, they are approved. Clerk's report.
I am very relieved and happy, and very pleased to do it the right way. And you'll notice that the January set of minutes, so we're starting off a whole new era.
Mhm.
You can't teach an old dog, because I'm definitely an old dog, new tricks. But it's taken me a long time, and tutoring and conflict, it seems easy, but it's actually not. However, what's exciting, Larisha and I are working together on this to make sure that all those documents will show. So for the historical record, we won't ever have to wonder anymore about Ed, your report will be included right there. I mean, it's very exciting. It's a different thing, like our minute, our minutes will be humongous, but I made sure everything is saved over, and then you can easily just see what was added in the board report. But for trustees, you'll be able to look later and then reference that if you wish. Or for the public, actually, for anybody,
public.
which is a good thing. So, thank you for your patience and for sticking on that, and I'm glad to have that done. I have just a couple items in the clerk's report. One is that Gail mentioned the top group, and I love it, and I'm really glad, like, you guys will be pleased. I know, Stephanie, you always comment on how much Gail does already. She's making an impact on that board. One of the things she's done is she hosted those webinars for the township, and I actually got to participate in person when she gave the one on sexual harassment in the workplace. But it was kind of cool because there were all these other townships out there watching at the same time, listening, and it was just very good. Like, that's added. Our spring conference in June will be spectacular. It will be, Senator Durbin has been invited. Hopefully he'll come to like a good vibes swan song, and he's always supported township. So in addition to Senator Durbin, they're planning a great breakout session. So I know we've had many discussions about the worthwhileness of it. And Kate, I know I joke, but you really love this meeting. I know you've been to before, but they're planning it out so well in advance. So I think, Gail can tell you they have a very strong president and board, and as well as an administrator who's like on the ball right away, getting things lined up. It's gonna be in Rosemont. They're gonna start earlier. They're gonna have it's just, Gail can tell you later in the legislative report, they're really taking action on behalf of the township and moving our agenda. And then the clerk's division, we've had a lot of fun, and it was my honor to have Larisha Hopkins with us, and she got a big round of applause at the clerk's dinner. And Larisha can testify. So I babble on a lot about how meaningful the clerks are, whether it's on the state or the county. And Larisha can testify that they are meaningful, not only just in the numbers and the connectedness to the other township, it's the program that we have every time. And at this meeting, we had two of the top people in the Cook County Clerk's office. The clerk herself couldn't join us. She usually comes to a meeting, but we had two of our top officials. And so the excitement is there are opportunities and things that they're doing that we kind of will get in on because of our relationship with them. So that's just another good thing. The clerk's office has always been one of the top. So then thirdly, I'm being good. I went with Gail and Larisha and Kate or Jessica. You guys were there for that State of the Villages, and that was really neat just to be there. And I wanted to make mention of it, that getting invited was really neat, and sitting in and seeing us included with all of our municipalities, really nice, because I've always preached that we're so unique in that the connection between Winnetka and New Tree Township, Wilmette, it's so much stronger than many other townships where they deal with broad municipalities, that we're really a special identity of New Tree people. And and then the last thing I mentioned is I actually had office hours today. I had one visitor, a former student. So hey, it was one, and I got a big hug out of it, and she was really delighted just to see a former student and visit with her. So if you have any issues in the future, I do want to remind you, early voting is right, I mean, it's here. So, they are so on the ball. All you gotta do, look at the Cook County Clerk's website. Everything is there down to, I mean, any confusion you had will be answered. Cook County Clerk's website, terrific. And they're already rolling and, we're really grateful they still maintain an early voting site here or the Northridge Village Hall. It's another good suggestion. So, Madam Supervisor, that's my report.
Is Tuesday gonna be your regular office hours day or?
Well, during when we had the meeting,
Okay,
yes, I mean, unless people start wanting to meet with me, I'd be delighted, but that would be shocking. But I'll be here before all the meetings, the whole afternoon. Oh, and then one final thing, what's really nice? It's like to be here and to listen to the door go ding, 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 ding all the time and see the way the staff responds to everybody. And so I know you all have positive feelings, but man, the staff here, it's like small and mighty is what they always said. Wow, it's just impressive to see all of them in action. And they've all helped me in many, many ways. Thank you.
thank you. Okay, financial reports. James, I will make you the host.
Great. Good evening, everybody. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Excellent. So let's kind of walk through the financials for the 11 months ended January 31. And I think the theme is better late than never. So taxes finally did come in from the county. We know they're going through a software transition that caused some delays in terms of those distributions. But you can see we're at 101% now, about 3.8 million collected. 1% better than what we budgeted. Again, we're always conservative on that, just knowing there is some loss and cost that takes place that we don't collect every dollar. So that's really the good news and the big difference this month versus last month. We started to see some trickle in last month, but then we got the majority in January. Replacement tax is still a little bit behind here. You can see we're at 81%. Again, this has been recouped by the state, I think, to fill some gaps in their budget. All local governments are feeling this. All of our townships especially. So you'll see this number pretty much down and every year, year-on-year comparison. And again, to the tune of anywhere from 40 to 20%. You can see here we're at about 81% of the budget. I think we might get one more payment from the state to close out the year, but again, I think we're going to end up under budget there. Interest, though, I'm not going to steal Ed's thunder. I see he's there in the audience. He can walk you through the great returns that we had. Again, 86% better than budget at about 93,000 collected. Passports, again, very strong. We're at 100% of the budget there, about 30,000. So all in, we're just shy of 4 million. We budgeted 3.9, so we're about 2% better than budget with 1 month to go. Now, let's look into some expenditures. We did make all of our agency payouts, so you see that took us to 100% on the expenditure side. So that's why you see that number there at about 1.75 million. And then most of these categories still under where we are in the year outside of some contractual services. Some of this is timing of payments. That's already at 100% and then slightly elevated in billing and town hall expenses. But again, across all our payroll categories for personnel and elected officials, those both below that 92%. And again, those are some bigger budgets there. All in about 3.1 million spent. Our budget's 4 million. So we're at about 78% of the total budget spent with 1 month to go. 81% town fund spend, 67% for GA. So again, strategically, still doing nicely in terms of we're building fund balance in the town fund and then reducing it in GA to avoid those tax objections. We started with about 2.26 million. We're at about 3.1 million in total fund balance. And again, this is going to come down slightly as we're going to have mainly expenditures in this last month in February. But again, still carrying very healthy, better than best practice fund balances. And again, a lot of it has to do with operations and when we get paid from the county, as we just saw, as well as any needed long-term improvements that might be coming around the corner. So again, that's why you see very healthy reserves. Let's look at distributions. Again, property taxes in at about 96% of the revenue pie. Replacement tax 1, interest 2, passports at 0.8. And then down in expenditures, again, agency programming is going to make up about 56% of the pie now that all of those payments have been made. Child care at 4%, projects 0.9, contractual 6, assessor 2.5, buildings, town hall 5.5, financial assistance 8, the pantry 2, personnel 13, elected officials 1. So right now, as we start to look towards the end of the year into next budget year, you can see revenues over expenditures as now all that tax money is in, and we have 1 month of mainly expenditures to go. not going to go through each individual detailed line, but you can see all these 100% across all of our agencies. And then again, some spends, most of these below where we are in the year. Again, just depending on timing of expenses. Some of these have gone slightly over, but the flags are drawn where we're over by fund. And again, as mentioned earlier, we are not over by in either fund. In fact, both of those look very good to end the year under budget. I'm going to take us all the way down to our bank review. Again, looks very good now that the tax money's in. Again, it's going to mirror that fund balance north of 3 million. We will do a little reshuffling here now that the tax money is in back into our Schwab investments, where we had to pull down some of those investments as we waited on tax money, as well as into our BMO accounts with the better interest rates. So again, you'll see a little bit of a rebalancing that we do now that the tax money's in, but again, over 3 million. That looks again very healthy as we head into next fiscal year. Outside of that, I'd be happy to take any questions from the board on the financial report.
Questions? Looks great. Thank you so much, James. I'm gonna take back the
Oh,
power before you leave.
Sounds good.
Yeah, I like his comment about, we're above best practices. I mean, that's what you always want to aim for, right? Those standards in accounting. So I really appreciate the effort that James puts in to make sure we're doing the right thing for the taxpayer. So thank you, James.
Absolutely.
Oh, you're welcome.
Okay. Thank you. We're now line for verification of claims. Trustee Moser.
I would like to move to approve the expenses decided for the town fund and general fund from January 1st, 2026, January 31st, 2026, as presented to the board this evening, February 10th, 2026.
Second. Any discussion?
I do have a question. Do we put somewhere in here, I mean, one of the recommendations on the independent auditor's report was to put bills and invoice dollars amount, note it within the minutes or somewhere in the verifications, like how much, we are verifying, month to month. And is that somewhere? And I'm just missing that number?
That should be a part of the minutes going forward.
Okay, so we wouldn't put it in the verification because I've seen other municipalities put that, we've reviewed and verified the claims in the amounts for a total dollar amount. So whether we put it there or minutes, it just should be somewhere. I think that was a good recommendation.
Is there a motion to amend the motion on the floor?
Oh, sure. So I would move to amend the motion to include the total dollar amount of the warrants that we are verifying as the claims made against the town fund and general assistance fund from January 1st to January 31st, 2026.
I'll second.
All those in favor of the amendment, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Seeing none, we're now back to the original motion as amended. Mr. Clerk, unless there's any additional discussion, call the roll.
Supervisor Eisenberg.
Yeah.
Trustee Castel McNally.
Yes.
Trustee Moser.
Yes.
Trustee Peterson.
Yes.
Trustee Tucker.
Yes,
Okay.
great. Thank you.
Assessors reports.
Yes, hi, everybody. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, good. First off, riffing off of what Jerome said, I will be also joining Jerome and Gail at future talk meetings. Having been asked by the Assessors Board if I could attend, we had 2 of our 3 members retire at the end of the year, so we would have been very shorthanded, and so I said, okay, I would do that. The new deputy assessor, Mike Sexton, has begun. He is settling into the job, and he will be at the March meeting to be introduced. I just really thought that with only 1 week on the job, perhaps it was a little early for him to face the gauntlet of everybody, and he should have a little time to feel a bit more settled before he got introduced. That's all. Excuse me. Our Board of Review results came out yesterday. And we're having I won't say a steady trickle of people, but there are some people, I'm really rather surprised there aren't more people so far beating down the doors to say they aren't happy with their results. So I hope that means a lot of people are happy with their results, or else they just don't know what they are yet, which is another possibility. It is still hoped, that all of the forms to get 2026 officially underway will be out at the beginning of March. No specific date. The first 2025 tax bills are expected to be mailed out on February 27th, which means they will be hitting people's mailboxes at the beginning of March, and the due date will be April 1st as established. But that appears to be a fixed date that they will be coming out on the last working day of February for people. Aside from that, I sent my budget to the trustees 10 days ago or so, and I don't have any updates to it at the moment. The only possible addition to it would be that I don't know whether Mike's health insurance needs to be part of it. Len's was, because it was a different setup for him. If not, then that line remains, would remain unchanged. If it does, then it would be adjusted upward by whatever the insurance amount is. But it's not a discretionary or negotiable sort of amount. It would just be a thing. If it's there, it's there. Excuse me, and otherwise, the total, as you see, is substantially below last year's, but that's principally because of having a new deputy assessor. That's about it.
Thank you. I do think we're going to need to add his insurance on here, but we'll talk with James as to how he wants to categorize it.
That's fine.
Discussion, Kate?
Yeah. Jan, I'm not sure if you've got this in front of you, the budget in front of you. But I want to make sure that I'm reading something correctly. Towards the top under personnel, the deductions and contributions and the IMRF lines, are those supposed to add up together to what you said, 7,710? Is that what you think is fair? Because I'm a liberal arts girl, but I add that up to 8,000.
If I got him wrong, I got him wrong. I can see, looking at it, I can see that I
Those two are
did.
supposed to add together. So I think that 7,710, it should actually be 8,394.
It's out of line
So that makes the
here.
67,710 line 68,394, which makes your grand total 97,094.
If you send
That's all
if you send it in an Excel file, we can make sure.
Yeah, I know, and I will do that. I hadn't in the past just because it was smaller, and I need to do that.
Yeah, and we can Wonderful. So just a reminder to the Board of Trustees, the assessor's office presents a budget to us by the end of January for us to review. But unless there is an illegal portion of it, we really just approve it.
Right.
And then build our fiscal year budget around that budget as well. So very limited oversight duties on that. Any additional discussion?
I have a question, Jay. I'm just curious, last year the contracts were estimated or budgeted at 2,000 and, I'm still
Yes.
learning this obviously. But you've got contracts around 7,000
I do.
projected. What? I'm just curious.
Well, what I have done, and that would be a maximum. I talked to Len about possibly being able to hire him for special circumstances or cases that might arise during the year, because he was just so absolutely outstanding with the complete one-off sort of problem, and I just really wasn't willing. Not that I wasn't willing. I just thought it didn't seem fair to foist that responsibility or potential responsibility on somebody who was brand new to it. And Len said he would be willing to consider that. So I added a maximum of $5,000, and he's working on language for a proper agreement to be working as an independent contractor. It may never come up. On the other hand, it will not exceed $5,000 total for the fiscal year.
Got it. And that would be separate from the temporary coverage of 40 hours then?
Yes, because he wouldn't be coming into the office to handle day-to-day affairs. He'd be working on a one-on-one project kind of thing for, delivering. So some of the special items that have come up have been at places where a legal background has turned out to be very helpful. And that's where Len's expertise has been very useful. And I, quite frankly, did not want to lose the ability to be able to use it if possible.
All right, thank you so much for that clarification.
Well, and thank you for asking. So,
Of course.
And if he's getting IMRF, do you check in on that as to how, you have to wait a certain amount of days
You have
before
to
you,
wait 60 days.
60 days before you can contract with your government again, so.
okay.
Make sure you don't put him in trouble.
Yeah.
Um,
I want
Yep.
that.
Yep. All right, any additional questions for Jan? Seeing none. Sawyer Feldu investment report.
All right. Well, good evening. Again, by way of reintroduction, Ed Lavin with Sawyer Feldu. It's a true pleasure to be back with you. To kind of prep for this meeting, I was looking at some of my notes, and our relationship dates back to April of 2023, so we'll soon be hitting the 3-year threshold. And I kind of went back and I looked at the cumulative earnings you've had. So going back to the inception of our relationship through the end of January, your 3 accounts, which we'll touch on here in a moment, you have cumulative investment gains now just shy of $216,000. So been a very good market to be in. And let's just dive into that. So,
Oh, and I will ask that you focus on GA and Town rather than Angel, because we've separated them out. Yes.
Yeah. So what I'm going to start with is just on page 2, and this kind of ties into what Gail just mentioned. We do have 3 separate funds, and we manage them as such. So on our platform, they're discreetly viewed. We can also view them in aggregate if we so choose. But you've got the Angel Fund, the GA Fund, and the Town Fund. And those have really been there since the beginning. And what I'll do then is I'm going to move you to the GA Fund, and that information begins on page 8. The information you're looking at in front of you is from January 31st, 2026. So the most recent month completed. If you look at the top of page 8, what you'll see here is both in a pie chart form as well as a table form. You'll see the holdings in the GA Fund. So you have your U.S. Treasuries, certificate of deposit, and cash equivalents, which is really held in a government money market fund. The common theme amongst those 3 investment classes, and what you'll see throughout your other accounts as well, is really the focus on capital preservation. So our guiding principle is don't lose money. Number 2 is liquidity. And so to the extent there's a need for cash, you need it for whatever reason, that we can provide that cash without having to sell anything at a loss. And so that really speaks to the cash equivalent we have there. That's available on a daily basis, no penalty. And so I think we have a pretty good process in place. I alluded to earlier, took out $350,000 from a town fund, I believe it was. And I think you had that money in about 2 days. So it moves pretty smoothly. The other thing that's worth mentioning too is that really the construct of the portfolio is really governed by what I would describe as rather rigid prescriptive statutes in terms of what you can and can't invest in. So we won't be here talking about gold and silver and Bitcoin and NVIDIA stock and all that. It's going to be high quality fixed income securities that you have. And again, it's been a good place to be in the market. You look in the middle section here, it's labeled cash flow review. And we'll look at the far right column. It's inception to date. Again, that goes back to that April 2023 date I alluded to. You can see that for the GA Fund, total contributions have been $825,000. Your distributions over this roughly 3-year period have been $175,000. You've got some capital appreciation. You've got some net income there, $62,908. You have a slight change in accrued income, accounting function. So your ending market value here for the GA Fund at January 31st, 2026 is $732,399. You put all that together, the investment gain going back to the beginning time for the GA Fund is $82,399. I'm going to shift you over to page 9 of 18. And what you see here is a nice quarter by quarter summary of cash inflows, cash outflows, what the ending value was, and what the respective net investment gain was for that period. I will remind you that first quarter of 2026, that's just 1 month, so it's not gonna, it'll look a little bit different given the size. But your run rate coming into the, the fourth quarter, 25, your net gain was 7,000, you had 8,000 before that, 7,777. So you can kind of get a sense for what the market was offering, what we're able to buy, and how that translates then into investment performance for your portfolio. The subsequent page, page 10, the top there, what you'll see is that, the fixed income securities that we own. So again, this is going to be your U.S. Treasuries, We've got some certificates of deposit that are guaranteed by the FDIC. So we never hold more than 250,000 from any one issuer. We want you to get the full benefit of the FDIC. But what this shows you, and again, this is consistent with the mandate that we manage your assets for, everything matures within the next year, specifically 2026. And so that's how we've been kind of running the portfolio. You know, as a point of consideration, doesn't have to be decided today, but you know, there is an opportunity if you were to extend maybe even 18 months to lock in some attractive yield for a little bit longer. It would hedge against the potential for if interest rates fell, you've got that locked in. 18 months though would still provide you with a lot of liquidity. You're not going to get a lot of price volatility. And then below that, again, you'll see it split between U.S. Treasuries and the certificates of deposit. The most important number on the page is the table on the bottom right, third column from the right says yield to maturity at cost. So when you buy an instrument like this, you're essentially locking that yield in if you hold it to maturity. Your weighted average there is 4%. So that is above what the market would otherwise offer in today's environment. It's probably closer to 3.6. So you're earning above market rates of interest really based on the time that we purchased the securities. Page 11 just provides a seriatim listing of all the securities that are held in the GA fund. Again, the top there is your U.S. Treasury notes. You've got 2 certificates of deposit and then your cash equivalents. It's worth noting that, again, you have a robust cash balance here, but you're earning 3.4% on that. And so, again, that's a government money market fund, so it's as risk-free can be. Again, daily liquidity and the yield on that is 3.4. So again, that does vary, unlike the other securities which are locked in. But again, 3.4 is the competitive yield in this environment. And then you'll see the transactions are on page 12. Rather limited. This is just showing you the month of January 2026. In this case, it's your investment income coming in, and then the expenses charged on a quarterly basis in arrears. You'll see $365 was charged for the 3 months from October, November, December. That equates to 20 basis points on an annualized basis. So put that in perspective, you know, 20 basis points on a $1,000 account would be $5. What that charge would be. Page 13 begins the town fund. The template, the information provided is exactly the same, just the numbers are different. You look at the top here again, I'll just give you the high level because again, it is a little bit repetitive. You'll see in the town fund there, you have $727,264. Again, a similar composition with regard to the asset classes there. The cash flow review, you look at the far right, again, going back to April of 23. You can see the money in started with $1,550,000. Your distributions were $925,000, and the market value again was $727,264. And so the investment gain on this over the last almost 3 years, it's $102,264. So the money is working for you. I certainly appreciate every dollar matters, and so again, a short-term portfolio has actually worked pretty well on this. And then page 14 shows you the cash flow. So the one that stands out is, again, we alluded to earlier, second row from the top, fourth quarter 2025. You can see the $350,000 distribution coming out of that. And so again, I think that was a good reflection. I mean, based on the liquidity we had, we were able to provide that with you. There were no investment losses incurred to generate that type of liquidity for you actually in funds. So similarly, again, all the bonds mature within the next year. The yield on this is actually a little bit better. It's 4.2%, so that's even better than what the market is currently offering. And you can see again, the holdings can be very similar, certificates of deposit, U.S. Treasuries. That leads into your transactions there on page 17. And it kind of ends in the market commentary. A lot of numbers there on page 18 of 18. I'll just kind of give you just a few highlights. A portfolio like yours that's really fixed income, relatively short term. You know, the biggest impacts are the decision that the Federal Reserve makes with regard to interest rates up or down. You kind of muddy the waters a little bit. There's going to be a new Fed chairman come mid-May. Kevin Warsh is going to be appointed. Don't know exactly what his thoughts are on, you know, how he wants to control interest rates. So that adds an element of uncertainty to what could play out over the summer into the fall. You know, beyond that, you know, the portfolio is constructed in a way that makes me very comfortable. I know that you're getting, again, competitive rates, but also operating within parameters that, again, prioritize that security of preservation of the capital. And again, always ensuring that the money is going to be. That's the Cliff Note version.
Questions for Ed? Thank you. Like I said, I've been very happy with, you know, the work that you guys have done and obviously with the returns. So
Yeah, I think though, any other recommendations? I mean, you like the portfolio
Yeah, so-
allocation as it stands, or
So,
would
some of-
you,
yeah, so some of
would
the
you
things-
recommend putting some in at 18 months at some
I would
portion?
say,
or-
you're seeing, when you look here, you see US Treasuries primarily, certificates of non-cap was. We do look at other instruments, like US agencies are allowed, by statute to go portfolio. But the yield differential hasn't been enough for us to make a move into that or something like that. So we do look at other, even high grade corporate bonds, you could do that here. But again, the yield you're getting additional, to me, doesn't warrant the risk you're taking on, type of thing. Again, my suggestion would be if you don't have any immediate cash flow needs, maybe investing out a little bit, and we can even do it as the new bonds mature, maybe take some of that, invest it out a little bit beyond a year. And that's the 18 months again, I think would still provide, again, that preservation of capital. You wouldn't be subject to wild swings, like if you bought a 30-year bond, that value would go way up, way down. 18 months, not so much. And again, I'm not suggesting we put it all into there, but what I describe is I'd create like a laddered portfolio out to 18 months, so it could be some money at 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, 12 months, 15 months, 18 months. You kind of do it that way. So you're always gonna have cash available if you need it. Lock in a little bit of the yield to hedge against interest rate movements. Just something to consider.
Yeah.
And inflation, too, staying ahead of inflation.
Inflation,
Yeah,
yeah,
okay.
it's,
Stay ahead of it. What's your returns on investments? I wasn't sure if it was over the 3 years or the 1 year. Was it around 11%?
yeah, then you want to divide by the 3 year.
Then by the
roughly.
three,
Yeah, so it's
divide
gonna be a
by
little bit
that.
over, exactly, yeah,
Okay.
over that. It's not quite 3 years yet, like 2.7.
2.7.
Yeah.
And then basically on your fees, you said 20 basis
Yes.
points. Was that just for the 3 months or is it?
No, that's annual,
That's annual 20 basis
That's
points.
20
is your
basis points,
management fee.
across
Okay.
all accounts, yep,
Oh, very good.
yep, that's. Hope we find that's a very competitive rate.
Yeah, yeah, very much. Yeah, it is.
You're gonna see a substantial decrease in values though on the interest rates that are available. And there's some school of thought that still keep it short because the longer you go out right now, the less you're gonna be able to get.
Yeah, well, part of that though too is if rates were to go down, that provides us an opportunity to sell those securities at gains. That's the other side of that, so, yeah, it's hard to say, again, it's hard to say exactly which way rates are gonna go right now, but if you look at market expectations, the market expects the Fed to cut in June and December. But that June cut's already baked into the market, the rates you're seeing currently, it's anticipated that, so. Hard to say, so again, I just by nature a little bit more risk averse, so I like the idea of locking in, again, if 3.5, that 4% is meeting your needs and helping you. I'd probably take that rather than risk going down to 3% or 2.9 versus it might go up to 4.5. I think.
Yeah, like I said about the preservation of capital secured, as a public body, that's, you don't want to
Exactly.
lose money.
No,
Right.
absolutely not.
Very good.
Now,
So I'd be happy to send you a follow-up email. to
That'd be
that,
great,
that
yeah.
can Summarize. some
Yep.
points.
Sure, yep. Any additional questions for Ed? Seeing none, we will let him.
Thanks for being here.
Yeah.
All
Yeah,
right,
thank you so much.
Love the discussion here. Thank you for having me. So, gonna clean up. Yeah, I will explain myself here shortly. Thank you though.
Thanks for coming in.
Oh, my pleasure.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ed, I actually understand what you're talking about.
Yes, it's good
Uh,
news.
just
Nice.
brag that like local boards can actually read through,
Yeah.
walk through and understand what bill. I don't know how any larger unit of government.
All right, we're gonna keep it moving because we do have a lot going on today. We're in line for public comment. I will remind anyone who is here, who is not here in an official capacity, that this is your only opportunity to speak.
Oh.
Is there any public comment? Seeing none, we are now looking at the appointment of officers for Township Courier. So as you know, the Courier exists for postage reasons. Due to weirdness that happened before any of us were on board. Maybe Trustee Moser, were you on the board? All right, so maybe you can give us some reasons, but either way, we do have to submit a annual report to the state of Illinois and a couple, like $30 or something.
Yeah.
$15. So we would like to appoint Jessica secretary and myself president for purposes of the Secretary of State.
And that's fine. Trustee McNally explained it to me. I just gave her a phone call because I'm like, what is this? I didn't know the Courier was incorporated. I'm like,
It is
oh, boy.
incorporated.
Okay, so at least I don't have to put the whole paper together, right?
Yeah. It is a one-page thing that you
Yeah.
have to sign.
Yeah, so I'm happy to help in any way that you need. So
Alright.
Motion on that?
So is there a motion to approve
do.
myself as president and trustee Tucker as secretary of the Courier of New Trier Township Courier Inc., a
So,
not-for-profit corporation?
so, that,
Any additional discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Seeing none, it is approved. Please sign the paperwork before you leave. Anyway.
Pass it around.
congratulations.
Come on, right,
I'll
yes,
send the paperwork around.
all right, so as a part of the process for preparing our fiscal year 27 budget, we kind of work backwards. So we try to figure out as many inputs as we can ahead of our final budget meeting. It has to be done in the first quarter of the fiscal. So a part of that is tonight us discussing the agency partnership contracts. And obviously, as you saw in the lovely pie chart, a lot of that is also our staff salaries, since much of our services are done via our staff. So I am making the following recommendations. General Assistance Director, 94,943.57, a 3% increase. At the Township Administrator, a 3% increase to 76,490.85. 3% increase for Community Partnerships Coordinator to 65,563. Deputy Assessor stays stable at 60 as there was a new hire. Food Pantry Manager, I'm recommending going up from $25 an hour to $28.85 per hour, which annualizes to $60,000. And maintaining the non-exempt status. Outreach and Communications Director, recommending 3% increase to $57,680. Restorative Justice Coordinator, to the extent that it exists next fiscal, to remaining at $25 an hour. And Food Pantry Receptionist, also a new hire, who just started at $20 an hour, remaining the same and remaining part-time. Is there a second
Second.
discussion?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Restorative justice coordinator.
Yes,
At what point are we gonna talk about whether or not it does exist next year?
that will be once you receive the report of our special projects trustee.
Got it.
So there are two more
Okay.
meetings.
So
to go.
we're
Yes.
putting a number in because of the budget, because that's for the full year, and then we're gonna figure out whether or not that exists.
Yeah.
So what do we do? Don't wanna put the cart before the horse.
Yes, the full
Yeah.
budget will be presented to you all. I usually do that. We do April's the annual meeting, I usually do May.
Yeah.
right? So, yeah.
I think it's a
I guess
placeholder.
It's a
until the-
placeholder.
The report will
Yeah.
be, it'll be ready for the
Right.
March meeting.
Oh,
So
okay,
we have
okay.
one more meeting, next week, Wednesday, with some of the school principals. And then after that, I've been asked to wrap it up and get it to the board.
So we'll have enough time if the decision or recommendation and the decision
Right,
of the
whatever
board
the
is
board-
to not do that next year. We'll have enough time to pull that from the budget and reallocate if necessary.
And the incumbent also has been substitute food pantrying when our food pantry manager is on like much deserved vacation. So I would maintain that $25 an hour for those substitute stays.
Okay. All right.
I would like to know how you form the basis for creating salaries for employees in particular. And there was discussion periodically throughout several years here about merit pay versus.
Yes, so I am
Percentages.
doing a straight 3% for everyone who is not new, other than food pantry manager. The 3% is in line with what we did last year and what all of our neighboring townships are doing. That is over the cost of living increase, which is 2.8%, and over the 2.7% inflation CPI rate. I then looked at neighboring townships to take a look at where we were in the market and saw that we were being generous compared to the market, especially given our size. And also considered feedback from the staff. Yeah, does that give you?
Yeah, that does, that question you didn't answer is there any discussion or basis for doing merit pay? Or-
I am recommending one merit increase.
And that's just based on your own analysis of the situation as opposed to input from others or a combination of both?
We do performance
How
reviews.
do we do?
Yep, and like I said, I did a market analysis. And considered all those factors as well.
Again, that's your call, but why one merit increase on, like, if you can, because it seems as though this year in particular, everybody put forth double efforts, triple efforts, so that's why I'm at.
True, I'm recommending this increase because I did find some market comparisons that I thought gave me pause as to where we currently were, especially given cost savings. And I did not find similar comparisons, given the size of our township, for the other roles.
So they were lower or higher?
We were in line for the other positions or didn't exist in other places. We're the only ones that have a community partnerships coordinator.
So it's more about parity than merit at that.
Parity, but it's merit in the sense of the role and responsibilities and expectations.
Okay. I mean, that's subjective, but.
It is subjective. That is always subjective,
Okay.
right? We're not a for-profit corporation. So I can't look at, KPIs. I can't, yeah, right? And not everybody has similar, some are costs, what would be considered, cost centers versus, savings areas. So I don't want to use that in that, yeah.
Thank you.
And I did consider switching from non-exempt to exempt for that role, and I have made the determination that I don't want the potential liability. Though it seems much more plausible to be exempt now, there's a mix amongst the townships as to whether or not it should be an exempt or not exempt role, and I would rather lean on the side of caution. Any additional discussion?
Makes a lot of sense to me. I mean, it's typically cost of living adjustments in government positions, and you factored in other, cost comparisons and market analysis and comparing with other townships and who we serve, and we love our staff and they're doing an excellent job, but, yeah, I think.
There was
that's very
certainly-
fair.
There was certainly no one who couldn't improve, right? Where I was saying to myself, perfection. But at the same time, wanted to recognize, that this was quite a complicated year. So, going above inflation seems reasonable. And I have spent a lot of time on the phone with various other townships. I said you had time in 3 minutes.
To be fair, Gail, the personnel manual says that when discussing salaries, it involves everyone and the board and employees, and it's our salaries, so under our guidelines, it is appropriate for me to discuss this.
So like I said, the manual actually says to do so during the performance review process.
Right, then why didn't we do it through the performance review process?
You had the opportunity to bring up any changes that you thought were possible, but again, you do not have the floor. You had your 3-minute opportunity during the
I respectfully disagree, Gail, but.
Do I need to bring up the Gail? All right, salaries is finances, so please, call the roll.
All right, in discussion, okay.
Unless there's additional discussion from the board.
So we're going to vote now on your recommendations.
Exactly.
Okay. Yeah, I think, and we've certainly read the materials that were submitted, so, this is really unusual for me, because typically when you're discussing salaries and performance, it's executive session or it's done privately, you don't do it out in open session. You have your vote on the recommendations at that time, so, I think how you're handling this is very appropriate for this governmental body.
And any additional discussion from the board? Seeing none?
Do we have a personnel committee? I'm just asking a question.
We do.
We do not. Is
No.
that something you want to?
Supervisor.
We have a motion on the floor.
Okay, wow, okay, here we go. Supervisor Eisenberg,
Yes.
Trustee Cassell McNally.
Yes.
Trustee Mosier.
No.
Trustee Peterson.
Yes.
Trustee Tucker.
Yes.
All right, we are now in line for agency contracts. We have a few proposals.
Which sheet are we going off of?
Yeah, so I was gonna go ahead and just lay them off for you. So we've got three different sheets of paper, or two different sheets. The first three are the committees that were, these are our recommendations from the committees year over year for each one.
Thank you.
So these are just broken down by committee for the last 2 fiscal years. This one, it's a little bit harder to read because I'm trying to get on one page. This is the breakdown of every agency, the amount of people they serve, the residentships they serve, the costs based on their projections on their cost, what they define as their cost per unit, the basic definition of the unit of service, the units of service they provided, and the percentage of the budget that they're requesting monthly. And this is all built based on their information that they submitted with the applications. This one here, this guy is like the spreadsheet we were working on earlier. This has it broken down by program. So it starts off with flat request recommended. So these agencies requested the same amount as last year. After that, it's requested increase recommended. So these were agencies that requested funding. The committees recommended increasing their funding. We have recommended flat despite increase. These agencies asked for more funds, but the committees felt that that a flat amount was more appropriate. For several agencies, there was a decrease recommended based on the service that had been provided. And the last few are the ones that the committees voted to not recommending partnerships with. So altogether, they're broken down. They have totals by amount. So altogether, the recommendations amount to $1,830,758, roughly 4.7% increase over last year.
Thank you. So I will also note, this program has increased substantially, our partnership program. I can pull up the exact numbers, but as you all know, that we're, I think we were at 1.1 when I started as a trustee. So it has grown substantially. I was talking to Northfield, they're also considering their partnership contracts tonight, and they're at about 650,000 total, and they are capped at that. So, wow, yes. So I did want to bring that up as we kind of focus on putting ourselves in a long-term position. And, we had done a few years ago, the policy, funding guidelines, which was meant to help us to focus our what partnerships we were going to be spending money on. So do keep those in mind as you go through this. So we will do these in tranches like we've done the last couple of years, starting with tranche 1, which was the flat request recommended. Is there a motion to approve flat requests that the committees would recommended approving?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
Could you clarify that? What do you suggest we're doing, just the?
We're doing the first section.
That's
So
fine.
as a part of this discussion, if you wanted to pull one out, we would then amend the motion to remove it and have a separate discussion. Yeah. Sorry, good point. Seeing no additional discussion, we'll call the roll.
Supervisor Eisenberg.
Yes.
Trustee Cassell McNally.
Yes.
Trustee Mosier. Trustee Peterson.
Yes.
Trustee Tucker.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. I'd like to go down to 3 first, which is recommended flat funding despite increased requests. Is there a motion to approve tranche number 3?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion of tranche number 3, including any motions to pull anything? So I do want to pull Bare Necessities Family Support Program. Is there a second?
Second.
All right, all those in favor of pulling Bare Necessities for additional discussion, please say aye. Any opposed? Okay, so now we have the rest of that tranche for consideration. Any additional discussion? Seeing none, can you call the roll?
Supervisor Eisenberg.
Yes.
Trustee Cassell McNally.
Yes.
Trustee Mosier.
Yes.
Trustee Peterson.
Yes.
Trustee Tucker.
Yes.
Okay. Now let's go to no partnership recommended.
Are you leaving bare necessities out?
I will have a, we'll have a separate discussion.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, but make sure I do. No partnership recommended in section 5. Is there a motion to approve the recommendations of the advisory committees related to non-recommendation?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there discussion?
I had a question about Ronald McDonald House. And Kate brought this up last time, and I kind of picked up on it. That was my committee. They do serve as township residents. It's pretty clear. It's only one of their 5 or 6 facilities in which they do support our township or our residents. But I don't know if it's appropriate to give them absolutely nothing. I will tell you that basis of you, I think a lot of the knee-jerk reaction why they didn't give them anything was there was this whole conversation in their budget about an item, excuse me, help me with this, that said basically community support or individual support or something, and she couldn't explain what that meant. And then we got into discussion about those little red boxes that every McDonald's is at the money, it's becoming that amount. And she wasn't sure about that either, but I believe she clarified it and came back with a reasonable response. So I just want to throw it out there because again, if the idea is we're supporting agencies that support our residents, they do support our residents. And so for that reason, I'm opening it up for discussion.
So you would like to pull Ronald McDonald's house from the,
Yeah, I guess that's bottom line.
is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. So we'll now vote on section 5 without Ronald McDonald House. All those in favor of approving the recommendation, can we start clerk?
Supervisor Eisenberg,
Yes.
trustee Cassell McNally,
Yes.
trustee Mosier.
Yeah.
Trustee Peterson.
Yeah.
Trustee Tucker.
Let's now go to decrease recommended by the committee. We have 3 agencies on that section. Is there a motion to approve the decreases as recommended by the advisory committees?
So moved.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
For the video,
I'm sorry.
but louder.
I'll second that.
Okay. Is there any discussion?
I went to Pillow Alliance.
Okay. Is there a second?
Second on that.
All those in favor of pulling Alliance for Early Childhood Education, please say aye.
Aye.
Right. We'll now vote on, unless there's additional discussion on for thresholds and youth services, we'll vote on section 4 without Alliance. Seeing none?
Supervisor Eisenberg.
Yeah.
Trustee Cassell McNally.
Yes.
Trustee Mosier.
Yeah.
Trustee Peterson.
Yes.
Trustee Tucker.
Yes.
Okay. All right, let's go to requested increase recommended. Is there a motion to approve the increases as recommended?
So moved.
Second.
And into it, oh, sorry, we have a second. So discussion. And on this, Stephen, I had him create this kind of document here, so I just wanted to point it so you could see it. As far as what's the cost per resident for their unit of service? Now, obviously, every unit is different. In the future, we will try to separate this out so you can see, what's a unit of counseling, what's a unit versus of a day program, an hour of day program, things like that, so we can more apples to apples. But I do think it's important to see the percentage of the program that they are requesting from us as well, when deciding whether a requested increase is merited. Any additional discussion? And I did receive a number of community letters in support of the volunteer center. So I'll just put that on the record as well. Seeing none, we will vote on the requested increases.
Supervisor Eisenberg,
Yes.
trustee Cassell McNally,
Yes.
trustee Mosher.
Yeah.
Trustee Peterson.
Yeah.
Trustee Tucker.
Yeah,
You'll need to list them and take letters and support them. You said you wanted to know that. So in that motion, should I say letters? Support? And-
Oh, no, just, yeah, in the discussions.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. All right, so now we have, correct me if I'm wrong, but we have 3 agencies for discussion, for further discussion. We will start with Bare Necessities Family Support Program. Requested an increase, flat funding despite, I feel that, discussion on that. My motion would be not to fund. Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion, limiting principles. The agency guidelines were created for a reason, and I feel that it's not a local organization, significant enough local service numbers. So I'm standing on that objection, which applies to some of the ones we are recommending partnerships on as well. Additional discussion?
Didn't they have council residents that they helped out?
They do, the guidelines say significant number.
They're
So
really tiny
you,
organization.
Hmm?
They're really tiny organization.
I'm just saying, limiting principles, so.
Okay.
As last year, I will probably be overruled, so it's fine, but I'm just taking it up for the record. All right, seeing no additional, we'll vote on no funding, which was my motion. Mr. Clerk,
Supervisor Eisenberg,
yes.
trustee Cassell McNally,
Yes.
trustee Moyer,
No,
trustee Peterson,
Yes.
trustee Tucker.
No. We are funding, okay. All right, so Alliance for Early Childhood, is there a motion?
Yeah. I would move to fund them in the amount requested of $7,800.
Is there a second?
I'll second it, get it in.
All right, discussion.
We funded them at the same level for a number of years. Last year, I was the liaison for this committee, and while I was not in this current year, I remember some very vocal dissent. However, I have seen them only increase offerings and opportunities for a number of different types of caregivers and children who would not necessarily fall within the categories served by other agencies in the life stages that are offered, the life stages agencies that are, that we offer. And I think that decreasing them so significantly sends an odd message. So that's the basis of my request to fund at the same level. And I know that you were the partner, the liaison this year.
Yeah, and part of it was, you helped me out with this, a lot of people felt that they were an educational service for a young adult, or a young parent, excuse me. And if I'm reading it correctly, we're not supposed to be funding educational services.
Right.
So I didn't really verbalize that during the meeting. I would let them kind of go for it themselves. But I'm mentioning it because I know that's what's appropriate under the circumstances. So that would be on my only reservation. If you can tell me what it is that they do that isn't educational, then I'd feel better about it. I'm not saying yes or no.
Absolutely. So, one of their, primary goals, within the community is to provide, opportunities that they call the Let's Play opportunities. So those are from children from, kind of birth to about sixth grade, to have, relatively organic, opportunities to play during the weekends. So they will do, usually about 5 or 6 of these during the a calendar year. And it's everything from Let's Play beach exploration, where they will bring geologists from local colleges to the beach so that you can, not just be like picking up rocks, but engaging children and caregivers to understand where the rock is from and what's comprised of it. And like, let's look at it under a microscope, and getting kids interested in science and talking about, where this is from in different, time periods. That's, one example. There's, fort building, and, they kind of engaging children's minds and getting kids literally outside in nature, away from screens, and frankly, caregivers of young children to have opportunities to, meet and collaborate and also not be on screens together in community. My children don't have cancer, but they do need to touch dirt. And so, to be able to serve, parts of our community that wouldn't necessarily fall into some of the other agency partnerships, I think is worthwhile. And while there is educational opportunities for some of the educators, it's but one part of what they do. And I think that some of the other parts don't come through as strongly perhaps in some of the presentations.
And then just for the record, the other hesitation by the part of the group was that we have the best school districts around.
Yes.
And the kids are getting properly educated. You're raising a whole different issue with regard to weekends and more nature oriented. But that was the other objection of the group was, we got great schools. These kids are learning more than any kid on the face of the earth kind of thing. Why do we need this? So I'm just verbalizing that so that everybody else is aware of that as well. That's what I have to say about it.
And I will say that, their application kind of doesn't give me much confidence that they understand or reviewed our funding guidelines. Because they didn't have to write down every program they do, which they do. And it just makes it even more clear that it's more recreational and educational. Like we had originally started with them when they did have like their screen break program and more of a Let's Play. But now I'm not seeing, like if they adjust on the family programs, that probably could fit in our mission. But they really kind of went too far on it, where like I can't tell you that they're going to use $7,800 on something that is allowed versus what isn't because of how they did their program description.
Is there a way to qualify our grant to them such that we say, despite your application, we want to be clear, like in the letter, with kind of giving them the amount that we are offering, that it is to be directed to specific programs.
I think that is a great idea.
We've done that.
But yeah, do that.
Yeah.
I mean, I really put a lot of credibility in this review process and the vetting process. So I really look at these recommendations very seriously, and unless there's something, a red flag out there to change it up. The work that these committees do, I really appreciate their recommendations and pretty much agree with their assessments. And one of the things we can do is approve the lesser amount that the committee has recommended. And in those letters that go out, here's why.
Yeah.
There's a letter that goes out to everybody with how much has been awarded. And I know we put in there, please, detail in your next funding request, and maybe we'll consider the next time around boosting it up again, but please detail and show us with even the money that we're going to give you, because we're going to give you something, but please detail what you're doing that falls within our parameters and is not educational. Because I've always seen the Lions as more of an educational supplement to our schools districts, not something necessarily the township would fund, given our mission and the
Exactly.
agencies that we fund. So I was just kind of surprised with their request
Yeah,
to begin with. But that's
Yeah.
kind of where I'm coming from.
and Steve
Okay,
knows,
yeah.
Steve and Heather know my qualms. Whenever they do a program that could potentially fit within our purview, so the Let's Play series, for instance, that could have social and emotional impact. They thank everyone and their mother except for us. So they'll thank the park district and the school district and everything and never us. And we actually, I had Heather send them an email being like, hey, remember, we're the one funding you, they're just providing a park, right? Which is a partnership too, but we're providing the funding for you to have this. It's, a contract for services. And they did it again right after that, where they again just ignored us. So maybe they don't need us. If I have seen a much more increased usage of the school districts and the park districts, and that's great because maybe it does fit better in their purview. So, any additional discussion on the motion on the table? So the motion is to fund at the full amount, 7,800 requested. Is there, please call the roll.
Supervisor Eisenberg.
No.
Trustee Cassell McNally.
Yes.
Trustee Moser. Trustee Peterson.
No.
Trustee Tucker.
No,
I will now make a motion to approve the $3,900 contract for the Alliance for Early Childhood Education as recommended by the advisory committee. Is there a second?
second. Sorry.
All right, any additional discussion? Seeing none, please call the roll.
Supervisor Eisenberg.
Yes.
Trustee Cassell McNally.
Yes.
Trustee Moser. Trustee Peterson.
Yes.
And trustee Tucker.
Yes.
Okay. Ronald McDonald to House Charities. Is there a motion?
I would make a motion to give them something.
I need a number.
That's not gonna work.
Just put a number on the table.
All right, I'll go on the limb. I would make a motion to give them $10,000.
Is there a second?
I'll second it. Just get it out there for
Discussion.
discussion.
No, as I said before, I go with the committee recommendations, so that's where I'm at. I highly value their vetting process and their recommendations.
I basically made my spiel, but I'll do it again.
Hey,
So they served 64 township
Yeah.
residents last year. And, the amount, the cost per unit is $1,031. To stay downtown 4 blocks from Lori for many families, despite what people think about the North Shore, to be meeting the needs of township residents in a moment in time when you have a sick child. I think that, we think of McDonald's as a large corporation, but we also need to be thinking about our township residents in a moment of extreme need.
Any additional discussion? So my only thought on that is I'd be happy to consider those scenarios as a part of the emergency financial support budget. And I don't think they had any other governments that they've been receiving, so we would be paying more than any other township resident.
Part of that was a function of they have a new person in charge, and she said that they were going to seek out other governments, but she was with, I believe, Bare Necessity before.
Correct.
And came over to McDonald's, and so she knows our modus operandi, and so that's why she came in. And that's what she said in terms of why they aren't funded by the township or other government.
Okay, that's helpful. But yeah, so my same, reasoning applies on the national. Who do great, there are many organizations that do great work, limiting principle. All right, so now we have a motion on the floor. It has been seconded. We'll call the roll.
Supervisor Eisenberg.
No.
Trustee Cassell McNally.
Yes.
Trustee Mosier.
Yeah.
Trustee Peterson.
No.
Trustee Tucker.
No.
I am going to do a motion to reconsider on Counseling Center of the North Shore Community Pilot Fred. Is there a second?
Where's
Sorry,
that?
Say that again.
For this,
Motion to read.
Under section two,
Oh, two, is it like the fourth one down?
yeah.
The 4,000,
Yep,
so
We
reconsider.
already approved that?
that's why it's motion to reconsider.
Yeah.
Is there a second?
I'll say.
Discussion, sorry, I meant to pull this one, confused myself. We already provide vouchers to residents to go shop at the Winnetka thrift shop. Whenever they've been presented to me by Jean for someone who could use clothing, I've been, happy to provide it. I don't think that the $4,000 is the way to go. Especially since we know that we haven't used $4,000 in the past. So it seems like it's a redundant service to what we already have and would just put the, move the oversight to them from us when we're already trying to provide kind of a fulsome, financial assistance during an emergency.
So if memory serves from our conversation, last time, that that their concept is to do it like a debit or a credit card for the thrift shop. And what we talked about was that, if we agree to the funding on this, then it would be something that we pulled from Jean. And that we would just have to be very careful about making sure that she was aware of that and that we are, kind of, pulling that. I give them, credit for trying something, especially if this is something where it would, perhaps involve folks other than people that are directly coming to us and then, kind of, taking out the middleman a little bit. And I just kind of by way of, I just have notes on that as part of things.
Yeah. And because of this kind of, we want the middleman, right? The idea is for them to meet with Shane and find out what they need and then meet those needs. Rather than having them be at the thrift shop itself. And it's not like we kind of create like a little gift card, right? It's not like it's awkward in the set, you don't have to be like, oh, here I am as someone with township money. No, looks like you got a gift card there.
I'm not familiar with this organization at all.
Okay, so then,
Like that.
yes, the Counseling Center of the North Shore is in Winnetka.
That I know, it's
yeah.
a pilot.
Yeah, so in front of their building, their therapy building, they have a thrift shop,
Right.
that Jan works as. It's actually quite lovely, you should go in, because it's one of the few thrift shops that has men's stuff. Anyway, and great stuff for white elephants. But yes, so that money then goes to the therapy programs and helps to subsidize the therapy programs. And does provide some, working conditions. But they wanted us essentially to have a pot of money for residents to use at the thrift shop, but we do provide.
Their clients who need stuff? Like, is it somebody that?
Let's see what we got.
Therapy that needs help?
Who was in the discussion?
I need a little more detail too, because this is, I'm trying to get, what did the committee in 4,000, did they appreciate like the other services that the township provides already? And this is supposed to be on top of that or taken out of something else, or do they understand some of what already what we're providing to the counseling center?
Oh, sorry, is that a question for me?
Yes,
I guess for you.
Oh, I was curious. I just didn't know if I have the floor. Okay. All right,
Yeah,
well.
if you could just give a little more info on that.
So basically what they described for us is that, in working with, I think it was originally with Arnold they were working with in regards to a program like this that I later followed up with them and expanded this. Basically, the concept was they're really trying to get the store to be more of a central part of their operation, right? And the idea with the community threats pilot was that it would serve as a place of need if people needed to do things. But the particulars were like more emergency situations, like someone's in a domestic situation and has to leave and didn't have a lot of like stuff with them, so they could go get a few items of clothing there, you know, something to look nice, something to have. Basically, that progress, we would just see how it worked throughout the year to see if it was something they would be helpful, and also possibly get people to refer them people to the store, get other people to come into the store. The committee kind of thought it was an interesting concept, but they wanted regular updates on it to just basically see where it was at, because we want to, you know, kind of figure out this little system of they have their in-shop credit card or however they refer to it as. We basically just need constant updates to see how much is there. So that was the committee's overall thought. They thought it was an interesting concept, but obviously they'll accept whatever the board decides.
How much did they ask for initially?
So their initial request was for 88,000 for the
80 for the.
correct. Oh, so let me double check on that real quick. Council said, I'm not sure. They asked, yes, for 84 and 4 for a total of 88. The committee thought, we're gonna give them the pilot program. We'll round off the mental health at 80 and then give the 4 to the pilots.
Thank you.
So these cars are gonna keep track of the residents and make sure they're new to our township and
Correct.
coordinate with with,
Effectively, yeah, that is their plan. So
yeah, seems like a lot of.
Like the
Overlap.
scenario you just gave us is exactly what we do currently, right? Like it's exactly that scenario. Or there's the house fire, or, you know, like we are able to do that.
So here's a monkey wrench to throw into things.
Okay.
If we decide to not fund the pilot, I wonder if the committee would want to fund the therapy at the 84.
We fund programs, not agencies, right? So they were provided with a request for 84 for the mental health and 4,000 for the community threats program. And they recommended 80 and 4. But yes, I completely
Do you
agree. But yeah,
see where the math is mathing for
I
me?
totally see
Okay,
where the
I just
math-
wanna make sure that you're.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's, yeah. Stephen, do you feel like that would have been the concern?
I agree. I personally, I think it's, you know, in terms of us, we're known for kind of like, when you look at things like Pickles and Erica's Lighthouse, we've done pilot programs that may not have necessarily been, when they were initially proposed, like they've thought we're on solid footing, but have turned into, you know, some of our longstanding partner agencies. I mean, worst comes to worst, the program doesn't really work successfully, and then we just don't do it in the future. Or you guys can reduce the amount of the pilot to something much lower than 4,000, just to have enough to see people use it.
They are using.
Well, the committee just thought it would be an extra service, and Council of the North Shore is trying to expand beyond their normal operations, so for them, this was a big pivot on their end. And I know
Yeah.
Thomas Applegate is, as he's came in, is trying all sorts of different programs and methods, and we thought it would be helpful, just because it could coordinate between Gene and Arnold from the pantry if anybody needed these services, but yeah, whatever the board wants.
They do, right? And what I get concerned about is, it doesn't sound like they kind of, did they tell, during their presentation, did they say, by the way, you already do this?
Well, the idea was yes, but because we didn't do it, or it was kind of infrequent, that it would become more of a frequent in lieu of like, so instead of like, yeah, Gene having to do it, basically, we would outsource this to them instead.
Yeah. So sorry, did I do a motion? So my, oh yeah, so my motion was to not fund the community threats program. Is there additional discussion on that? Seeing none, we'll call the roll.
Supervisor Eisenberg.
Yeah.
Trustee Cassell McNally.
No.
Trustee Mosher.
Back up a second, we're agreeing
The
to
motion was to not fund,
not fund, that's right.
right, reconsider and
No.
then not fund. Supervisor,
No,
trustee Mosher, trustee Peterson,
No.
trustee Tucker.
No.
All right, I think that is everything unless someone thinks of something that I messed up here. I think that's everybody.
No.
Okay, we're back on the agenda. Thank you all for doing that diligently. Legislative updates. Okay, so I put myself on the township officials and county legislative committee. So here's our first ever legislative. So township officials in Cook County have voted to approve these bills as favorable. And I'm asking that this board do so as well. What that means is that we would then slip in favor during committee, and I can write emails to our legislators, so I know the sponsor. And then during township officials lobby day, we can go tell them to vote for them. I'm particularly excited about SB 2795, the Local Government Inspector General Act, which would provide some ethics oversight over township officials. Not that we have any issues, but it is not good for us when anyone who has a similar title to us does anything for it. And there should be a way for that to be covered. HB 4265 is just a really interesting one. This is a Daniel Dittich bill, who's a former supervisor, and he texted me, goes, "Did you know this was a thing?" So apparently, the moderator of the township annual meetings, you know about that?
We did, but then we never.
Essentially can have their own fiefdom until the annual meeting is adjourned.
Security.
They have their own,
Wow.
they can basically take on any municipal police department as their own under the current law. So this is saying, no, we should not allow that. Yes, so now you can call the police, but you cannot essentially you make them your personal.
Sadly, some townships have needed, which is odd, you know, not,
Yeah.
thank God. But I can say 2 townships that have actually required.
So, yeah, well, I'm pretty confident that the police will all contact, will
No
come
way.
without allowing, giving authority to an unelected person. My understanding is he's not sure it's gonna move, but we should encourage anti-township dictatorship. The other ones are simple, you know, post our township information on our website, because we have it, we do it anyway, quorum. This codifies the rule because we are a small board that we need 3 members to be quorum. It was already always kind of assumed, but now it'll be in the law. And contracts near elections hasn't been an issue for us, but there are many boards on their way out that will contract with all their buddies and then not let the next board have a way out of those contracts. This is a way to avoid that. And park related powers, we don't have a park district, but there are townships in Cook County even that do have park related powers. And they would like to have the powers of a park district in the exercising those powers. Are there any questions about the TAC list? So I will move to adopt the TAC legislative agenda. Is there any additional discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Bless you.
Okay, and then I did have a couple other bills. What's this? Okay, so Senator Morrison, who covers our northernmost part of the township,
Blanco.
oh, sorry, Glencoe, has a bill. So. Yeah, and I don't know what the impetus was. I will certainly be asking her, but HB 4574.
Sorry, yeah, was that in the agenda?
It is not, this is
Oh,
another
okay.
one, yeah,
That's good.
it's part of the legislative agenda.
Okay, got it.
Which would allow felons to serve township office by repealing 60 ILCS 155-6. I've been pretty proud that we can't have felons serve in township office, and I'm not sure what the idea is, so I would like to move that we oppose that bill.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor of opposing HB 45, oh, sorry, additional discussion. Seeing none, all those in favor of opposing HB 4574, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Seeing none. Final one is HB 4284. This is an effort of newly appointed Representative Cochran He is picking up a bill from his predecessor, which would change any references to handicap and disabled to person first language, which would be in line with our committee on disabilities and persons with disabilities efforts. So I would be asking for support for HB 4284 to make those conforming changes.
What's new language?
HB 4284 would be person first disability language. And making it all consistent. There's a lot of different language in the Illinois code that some of which is quite antiquated.
Need a second?
Yes.
Second.
Any discussion on that bill? Seeing none, all those in favor of supporting HB 4284, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, so now we have no control over whether the legislature agrees with us, but we can try. Try our best. Next. New business, really continuing, we'll call it, it's really continuing business. All right, Kate, Monarch Pledge.
It's my butterflies guy. So. As you know, we need to choose at least 3 and up to 36 things to do with the National Wildlife Federation's Mayor's Monarch Pledge that we have agreed to do again this year. The arguably easiest is a proclamation in recognition of Monarch Butterfly Month. It appears on page 41 of your packet. And it is identical to last year's with the exception of the date and the 5th preamble. In the 5th preamble, we list out from A to D the actions I propose that we take this year. They are literally the language of the actions listed. I've already started working with Heather and some of the kind of agency partners to kind of get this part, and Steve to kind of get this party started this year. But I would like to move to accept this proclamation in recognition of Monarch Butterfly Month as May 2026.
Second.
Any additional discussion? People love milkweed packets, these milkweed
Yeah.
packets.
This is really nice.
It's easy. So we'll just buy more of them and give them out. All right, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Seeing none, it is proclaimed. All right, we are now with the purchasing and credit card policy. We have in your file. I move that we adopt ordinance 2026-02, an ordinance authorizing and adopting a credit card use policy and procedures for New Trier Township.
Second.
Any discussion?
Okay, full questions. There's reference to the finance department. Or what is the finance department here? Oh, okay, all right. Okay. Our wonderful township administrator, okay, and how are limits set? Are you going to have like some sort of limits? I think it talks about, oh gosh, I reviewed this, sorry, it's not real detailed because of being out of town, but I'm concerned about like, is there gonna be a monthly limit of how much can be charged before there needs to be some sort of review?
Let's take a look at what he added.
Yeah, I don't remember if that, let's see. I wrote it down, so I must have not seen anything
It
specific.
says in E that we will establish them, so that is.
Oh, okay, so that's, so we'll be
Yeah.
filling in details on
Exactly.
this as we go forward and you'll keep
Yeah.
us informed as
I think
trustees
what we
as
would
how
wanna
that's
take
gonna
a-
work.
Yeah, I think what it's time to take a look at is, for instance, you know, when Arnold goes to Costco, we have to make that, we should probably set those limits based on, your biggest day, right? Just remembering the joy that was getting all those containers from Home Depot.
Oh, and then let's see, and then under procedures, let me see. There's a D. A month, The last, this is page, let me see if I've got this right now since I'm just looking at it again. Page 48 under section. Like under section 4 procedures, DA reconciliation report must be submitted monthly to the finance
Yeah.
department. So I know that would go to our administrator, but can we also have something like with the warrants for the board's information as to what, what's being spent each and every month on that credit card? And then the other thing that came up was the auditor's report about not every credit card expenditure had the sufficient receipts to really, itemize what exactly it was spent on. So just a reminder that as we go forward, any expense on these credit cards should be, really detailed support for what it was for.
I certainly see that as part of the reconciliation report.
Yeah.
Whoever accesses the credit card, they were, not for exempt, tax exempt, well, they have some kind of state, when they go to buy these services, they'll know to state that we are a tax exempt
Exactly, so
entity.
Board C talks about that a little bit.
Or, yeah. And then as far as the value purchase is not allowed, is gaming listed in there?
Good questions.
DraftKings, things like that.
Yeah.
Alcohol, controlled substances, I go, gaming too.
Do you feel like you don't think it's covered by personal, is that a loan? I don't know. I think that's a good point.
That's what they use their credit cards for.
It does say, okay, D says township credit cards should only be used for legitimate township business expenditures consistent with approved budgets. So I think we're covered by D. Does anyone disagree? Do I have to specify in 3B?
Well,
For saying you can't use it for heroin, I feel like you should probably say
So, all right, is there a motion to add B
So,
11? I just remembered my,
Roman numerals.
which would be gambling. The Roman numerals.
yeah, I'll move that and,
Yeah, second, yeah.
All those in favor of the amendment, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Seeing none, we are now looking at the proceed policy as amended.
Can I also just pull out on page 64? Under the invoice payment and the purchasing ethics, I think that we're under Roman numeral 10 and Roman numeral 11. I think that to be consistent with the rest of the document, that those should be A and B for those two. And then that carries over onto page 65, that should be C.
Got that?
It's just consistency, it's not.
I agree with, yeah, okay.
so are we still on the credit cards or are we?
We're on the credit cards.
Oh,
Any
okay.
additional discussion of the credit card policy, which has now been amended and will be revised for consistency? I don't think we need a motion on that. Yeah,
The
that's
only thing, Supervisor Eisenberg, do we need an amendment? I wouldn't mind adding to that procedure under D, a reconciliation report must be submitted monthly to the finance department and included with the warrants for the board's information, or included somehow for the board's information, then so that we will be able to review that as well, or with the warrants for whoever's reviewing warrants. And that should be included in the total expenditures that we are hopefully putting in the minutes as well. I mean, that should all be included in the expenses month to month.
So we did talk about adding in the credit card bill as an attachment to the financial report. Is there any reason not to do that?
Eugene, I'm happy to do whatever you guys wanna do. It's definitely another layer of work, but, when I do the credit card bill, I reconcile with Tim every month. It's basically line by line, and then I have to divide all of those lines into the budget numbers.
Could you just do a total, monthly total on credit cards?
So that's
That's
you
what
got,
the
yeah,
BMO
that's,
is.
you got that on your
Yeah.
report.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, that's what it is.
Yeah, so if you physically want it, I can always make a copy of it and just attach it, but it's not in their financial report. It's just in their financial report as BMO. So we divide the credit card between town fund and GA.
Yeah.
Because Arnold makes purchases for the
Right.
pantry under GA. And then we have the other purchases under town fund, so it all has to be divided up and reconciled with town.
Exactly.
Okay.
So if they wanted, if you guys like want it on the end, I can just make a copy of what Gail sees.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that might be helpful, let's
Yeah.
just see, and then if we don't need it, or we can,
Yeah.
go from there.
Sure.
Sure.
Whenever I do my board reports, that little pie chart that is on there, that's all my expenditure. So anything that I spend on the credit card is already on there, and it's like, it either says like, it was spent in like the grand, or it was spent like here, there, or like even like purpose, it'll like say like what it was with. But yeah.
Great, thank you. Okay.
So I don't think it's necessary to add that in, because we'll just do it as a matter of course at this point. Yeah.
Right.
Should do roll call.
Thank you.
Okay,
Financial.
sure. We'll call a roll.
Okay, Supervisor Eisenberg,
Yes.
trustee Cassell McNally.
Yes.
Trustee Mosier.
Yes.
Trustee Peterson. Yes. Trustee Tucker.
Yes.
Okay. Capital asset policy, very exciting.
Move to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second.
Any discussion of the capital asset policy?
So is this something we do year to year?
This is all new. This was part of the audit recommendations.
Okay, that's what I
Yeah.
thought, but I didn't know if it
I didn't know
had
what this
something.
was before, so.
We have discussions about what we consider like capital, and that gets brought up in the audit every year.
And we will have, the accountants appointed if this needs to be amended from, after this year, right? So they'll take a look at it. Any additional discussions? Seeing none. All those in favor of adopting the capital asset policy, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Seeing, oh, sorry, please call the roll because he has a yes, no.
Aye, okay.
Yeah.
There you go. Trustee Eisenberg.
It's a-
Supervisor Eisenberg.
Yes.
Trustee Cassell McNally.
Yes.
Trustee Mosier. G Peterson. And trustee Tucker.
Yes.
All right. Fund balance, our fund.
Motion to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion.
Yeah, page 79, I think that we just need to list this as exhibit A.
That makes sense. For formatting question, I don't think we need them. But we will make it. Any additional discussion?
Pretty straightforward.
Very exciting. All right, all those in, oh, please call the roll.
Supervisor Eisenberg.
Yes.
Trustee Cassell McNally.
Yes.
Trustee Mosier.
Yes.
Trustee Peterson. Trustee Tucker.
Yes.
Okay. Any additional continuing business?
Yes, Madam Supervisor, if I may, I had a chance to look up my previous budget while the meeting was going on, and the error was not in the totals of that were there. The error was in the IMRF number. It should be 3990, not 4674. So the
Wait, what am
original
I
totals
saying
are correct.
If you wouldn't mind sending me a revised version, that'd be helpful.
I will. I
And
will
then-
anyway. Yes, of course, because the figure still has to be corrected. It's just a different figure.
Absolutely. Thank you. All right, we have received staff reports from our staff members. Is there anything anyone would like to take from the staff reports for discussion?
I just noted that the price of product is going down dramatically. I didn't realize that. Any explanation to prices are going down?
Just finding costs, price reduction, and it's like I said in the report, we're down like 99% on some of the items.
Yeah,
Or sometimes less, but throughout the past year, or I guess the past 10 months, I've searched for partnerships and things to lower all the prices down. And I've also reworked all of our contracts that already existed to lower all of the prices of the goods down. And then right now, it's like I said in the report as well. I'm working on the partnership agreement with the GCFD for us to start receiving meat, vegetables, and other items. So, by next year, probably, we're probably gonna look to spend maybe 50,000 in pantry at most. But
Those combinations. Pressuring old vendors. It's a combination of new vendors and pressuring old vendors.
yeah, a lot of pressuring old vendors. I think a lot of people will see that we're a township and they think that you can just charge them anything. But at the end of the day, we are a food pantry that's buying from them.
Yep.
Not the township that's buying. Well, I guess, right? But, it's also very easy to just say, hey, like, this is the price that we're willing to pay. Whether you, like, do you accept it? Yes, okay, cool. And then, no, okay, and then 2 months later, we just switch to somebody else. And the thing about it is that we've done that, but we've also stayed within the township or the surrounding area, so the money hasn't left the township. It just moves to another venue. So, for example, we went from the Grand Winnetka paying $9.99 per dozen. Now we're paying 91 cents per dozen at the Grand Winnetka. So, all in 10 months then. But like I said, just what I've been doing,
Thank you.
Good work. Thank you.
And in Heather's report on page 95, she made some recommendations. I would just like to voice some apprehension about the notion of moving to distributing the courier 4 times a year. I think that she's doing a bang up job with 3 times a year. I know that it's a stressor. And I also think that the utilization of social media has never been higher. So I would like to just, push that, we keep with the consistent kind of current schedule. Also, I know that it's a costly endeavor in terms of, raw dollars to print and send. So, for that reason, I would also just push that we stay at 3.
Yes.
Speaking of social media, what a success of the DMV, the sellout to social media. What a great event. Yeah.
Absolutely. And I believe she already has one scheduled for the fall. So very exciting.
It's great for the residents.
Yeah.
So convenient.
And anyone who
Right.
was not able to participate, she sent an email saying make sure you sign up for the e-newsletter, because it meant usually that they didn't get the e-newsletter and they waited for the courier. So,
And we have the new website, I think, too. Is
Yeah.
that?
It launched on January 27th.
Yeah.
It's so much faster.
I've gotten a lot of good feedback from other.
Yeah.
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 It looks good. Yes.
Yeah.
And just for some historical, we had been doing 4 times a year before. And we went to 3 and changed that 3rd one to the annual report strategically
Which is
years ago.
fantastic. And years ago, we published a separate report that didn't go anywhere. We include the annual report. You remember that stuff? Like how good that was. And then board movies, so everybody gets all of our financial data in the annual report.
Yep. Any additional discussion of staff reports? And just tell your friends about walk-in passport day. I think that'll be popular. So, let's see.
What's in?
Friday.
This Friday,
All right.
13th,
Friday the
a
13th,
little bit of luck for an unlucky day.
very cute. All right,
Friday's 13th.
That's right.
Friday the 13th.
Fantastic idea.
Move to
Motion to
adjourn.
adjourn?
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? We'll see you on March 10th. In the meantime, happy birthday to Trustee.
Yes.
90.
75.